Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope all you Fibro fighters are getting some quality information, some tools, tips, and the strategies that I share on these live weekly Fibro Fight episodes. Today's a little bit different. Amongst other things, I'm not making it to Instagram. I'm not sure if my account has been hacked or I'm simply missing a step. Whatever it is, I'm not airing live on Instagram today. And for that, I apologize. I figured it was more important to get the information out to you today because than it was to where I'm putting it. So I'm on two different Facebook pages, the Fibro Fight, as well as Info is Power series. And of course, we are live on YouTube. If you have any questions or comments during today's show, please post them in the comments section and hopefully they will appear. I don't know if you have to be if you have to be signed into StreamYard or if you can just do it directly through YouTube or Facebook. Not really sure. Point is, if you have questions, post them in the comments section. I will get to them, even if not during the live, I will get to them afterwards when I go through the messages or get the notifications. The thing is, living with fibromyalgia means navigating unpredictable flare-ups, right? But with the right tools, and I have found some really cool ones, you can regain control. Today, we're going to explore how I apply these tools, hypnosis, NLP, cannabis, EFT, IFS, all these different therapeutic strategies to fight fibro, to battle naturally pharmaceutically free, right? And let's get and to help you manage the symptoms and get through some of those tougher times. So, what I did this week is I gathered up some common questions that either I'm asked very frequently or there's my other glasses. So, I'm going to share some of the questions that I'm asked more frequently than not. And if any of you have questions during this episode, please step in, ask me those questions in the comment section, whether you're live or watching the after show. One of the key things, and this being springtime right now, where that frost, especially here in Canada, that frost is leaving the ground and the air might feel warm, the sun is extra bright. So these weather and we're going up and down on that thermometer in we're going 11 degrees during the day and then -5 at night, and all those changes can really exasperate the pain that we feel, making it feel a lot worse, right? So I'm often asked what we can do about that. Many fibro warriors notice their pain spikes when the temperature drops or when humidity rises or when the barometric pressure changes and shifts. Bottom line is your nervous system is already hypersensitive, and these changes make it overreact. There is a really cool hypnosis trick that you can apply. Start by closing your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths all the way into the belly breaths and imagine a temperature shield, almost as though it can surround your whole body, protecting you from any external changes. And say to yourself, I'm in control of how my body responds to weather. This is my brain and my body. I make the decisions. Doing this daily over time, your brain can actually begin to tune out and will naturally help you to tune out some of the discomfort that you will experience with those temperature changes. Going even in the summertime, going from a hot outdoors into an air-conditioned building, that kind of temperature change our body does not adjust well to. So putting on that temperature shield, just imagining this bubble just encapsulate you so that the way your body feels at the temperature it's feeling is right for you. And now you're in this encapsulated little bubble, so it doesn't matter that you just walked into a freezing cold air-conditioned place or out into a wall of heat from the sunshine or summer sunshine. Notably, cannabis, a strain that's high in CBD and caryophyllene, which is the terpene. So you want CBD, which is cannabidiol, and caryophyllene. So strains that would be high in CBD and caryophyllene would be Harlequin, is very high CBD. It's also very high in caryophyllene, as is ACDC. Both of these strains in particular, so I mean, that's ultimately what you're looking for in a strain. But these two strains in particular can reduce inflammation and nerve pain as well. You can consider looking at a nice cannabis-infused bath to help ease those muscle aches and tensions from the temperature changes. I hope that answered your question or answers your questions, or some of them, or points you in the right direction with respect to weather changes and pain sensitivity. Another question that I am often asked about, because it's an issue for everyone, isn't it? In particular, fibro fighters, and it's how do I sleep when anxiety keeps me wired at night? Fibromyalgia and anxiety go hand in hand, and that tired but wired feeling can make sleep impossible. I know, I experience it firsthand on a regular basis, but it is important to know that your brain can be trained to wind down. Try this NLP technique right before bed. Just before you get into bed, I want you to recall a time when you felt completely and totally at peace. Imagine yourself stepping back into that memory. See what you saw, feel what you felt, hear what you heard, and really enhance that memory. As you're breathing deeply, bring that calmness into the present and imagine how your breathing would be if you were deep sleeping, and begin to breathe in that fashion for at least 1 minute before you go horizontal on your bed, before your head touches the pillow. Begin breathing like you're already in a deep sleep. And notice how your brain associates that deep breathing of deep sleep with the transition from vertical to horizontal. And notice how these times you got completely distracted. Isn't that fun when you have fibro fog? I know, we all have it, and the slightest little distraction can throw us right off cue. That may have been an emergency call, so I'm going to address it. I'm live. There we go. Okay. So if it was an emergency, they'll get back to me at a later time. Moving on. Cannabis tip about dealing with, so that gives you an idea of how to use like NLP in a state of hypnosis. So what we're doing is we're rewiring the neurons that are firing together in our brain through the deep breathing exercises, as well as mentally and emotionally bringing ourselves back to a place that is calming and peaceful, where we feel relaxed. Also, a small hit or two of an indica dominant strain like Granddaddy Purple, one of my favorites, or Purple Project, Northern Lights, any of these purple strains can help reduce anxiety and induce or activate sleep processes. You can also try a CBD THC tincture of, 1 to 2 under your tongue for about 30 minutes or 30 seconds, before going to bed. And that will help with relaxation without producing that grogginess that we can feel in the morning. On another note, I'm just going to run this for a moment. If you want to talk about these things personally, one-to-one, you can reach me through this link. Ashley, Gary's trying to reach me. Can you reach out to him and find out what the problem is, please? All right, I'm back. So another thing is emotional ups and downs. I hear it all the time. Some days, and I do, I feel fine. Other days, for no apparent reason or readily apparent reason, I get very overwhelmed with sadness or frustration or anger or an uprising in whatever negative feelings it is. And I really want to control and manage these mood swings for emotional regulation. Fibromyalgia notably doesn't just affect your body. It really plays games with your emotions as well. Pain and exhaustion can often make even the smallest of challenges feel like they are impossible. Notably, you don't have to let your emotions run the show, and there are all kinds of tools, tips, techniques that you can use to regulate your emotions. Now, this reframe game is an NLP trick that I'm going to share, and that's when frustration hits, stop and ask yourself just for a quick second, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me? Maybe it's a sign to rest or to hydrate. Maybe it's even a sign to take a quick break. But instead of saying, I hate this flare-up, poop, shift, my body's asking for kindness. What does it need? I'm listening. If you need to, step into the bathroom or into a quiet, private space and do a quick tapping session. And this literally takes less than a minute to do. But you can say, let's say it's frustration away, and you tap the top of your head. That's the first spot you hit. The second spot you're going to hit is right beside, I lied. Start at the top of your head. Frustration away, and then the meridian, the bladder meridian. Frustration away, the side of the eye, frustration away, under the eye, frustration away, chin, frustration away, collarbone, frustration away, and then grab your wrist, peace, calm, and relax it. Doing that that little tapping session 3 or 4 times will alleviate anxiety, will help to regulate emotions just like that. Another thing you can do is to close your eyes. You can also visualize a dial in your mind. And if you preset this ahead of time and install it, you can have that dial, name it, emotions, let's just say. And imagine turning it down in your mind to a calm, balanced level. And sometimes you will learn. Sometimes that dial will pop up before the emotional flare-up. Once you get really good at practicing and using this control mechanism, it becomes a very effective tool to help you. Notably, microdosing with strains of, say, Blue Dream or Canatonic can actually help ease stress without making you feel foggy or groggy. And if sadness is lingering, using a limonene-rich strain like Super Lemon Haze, for example, can help give your mood a boost without overwhelming sedation. And these strains, I'm not saying you have to use cannabis. I'm saying if you choose to use cannabis, these are strains that can really help you to help you. These are strains that I've learned are effective at helping me help me. And so I shared those particular strain names with you now. But the NLP and hypnosis and the tapping therapies, these all work very, very well and very, very effectively on their own or combined. Something else that always, or I shouldn't say always, but almost always comes up is how unpredictable and random pain flares can be. People ask questions like, why does my pain move around my body? How can I stop feeling like a prisoner to it. Well, I'm here to tell you, fibro pain does not play fair. It shifts, it stabs, it throbs, and it does all of this in random spots. But just because it's moving around doesn't mean it's controlling you. Something to consider is a hypnosis visualization that I have often used, and I've taught many others to use this as well. And that's to imagine your pain as a wave, like you see on the ocean or on the sea, on the bay, wherever it is. But picture it as a wave. Sometimes it rises, but it always falls. So instead of resisting it, learn new methods of surfing with it, breathing in deeply and saying, "This wave will pass and I remain steady." Imagine yourself actually surfing on that wave or through that wave, so that as the experience happens, your mind is focused on something that is much more pleasurable. And the more you do this, the more you practice these techniques, the more effective they will become and the better you will become at applying them. So again, practice, 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 practice. Another cool tool is to use NLP anchoring. Find a part of your body that doesn't hurt. Maybe it's your left hand or your right ear, perhaps, and focus all of your attention, all of it, right there to that one spot and say, "Comfort exists within me." Say that in your mind. I can expand it. So if you have found it to be in your right earlobe, simply thinking of that right earlobe, knowing what that right earlobe looks like, how thick that right earlobe, really focusing on the details of that right earlobe when you're having a spasm and let's say your calf, or your knees are aching, or your toes are firing little shots out of the end of them, little fire pricks, whatever it is, focusing all of your attention someplace else will definitely help. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I had a grandfather who, I'd run up to him with a splinter and he'd step on in my hand and he'd step on my foot and say, "Well, you're not thinking about that splinter anymore anymore, are you?" Because I'm now thinking about my foot. So it's relocating your attention and, locus of your focus, right? Change it to something where there is absolutely no pain, something you hadn't even thought about before. Maybe your right earlobe, maybe your left baby toe, whatever it is. Refocus your attention, and then you make that. So now that I've really focused on my earlobe and the nothingness that is there, I can allow that nothingness to be cool. I can imagine it becoming cooler and cooler and spreading. So now it's up over my whole ear and across the right side of my face and down my neck. And now it's traveling like a wave to the spots that need cooling. You get the idea of how this works, right? When it comes to random and unpredictable pain, cannabis salves, so the creams, the topical solutions, are absolutely amazing. Preparing ahead of time, giving your hands a nice little rub, rubbing your knees. These, when applied to the pain area, they offer an analgesic and anesthetic relief to that generalized area. It reduces the inflammation. And notably, for those of you who have concerns about the psychotropic high that can be associated with cannabis consumption, topicals cannot get you high. The THC will not break through the blood-brain barrier. It just won't go through all of that fat and epidermis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The THC doesn't get into your blood-brain, into your blood system. So you cannot get high from topical use. If you're going to consider an inhalation or an edible, remember, start low and go slow. Edibles take a lot longer to have an effect on your system or to show efficacy. And that being said, so the THC9 is further converted but through your digestive juices to become something known as 11-hydroxytetrahydrocannabinol. This can be 5 to 6 times more potent and last for 5 to 6 times longer than inhalation would. Now, inhalation, on the other hand, usually shows effects or has effect within 30 to 60 seconds, and peaks at about a 2-hour marker and then is alleviated, so that you get the difference between the two different methods of consumption. Notably, low THC, high CBD will reduce inflammation. High THC, low CBD will also reduce inflammation. However, it will also provide an analgesic to whatever sensations you are experiencing. And edibles, the effects last longer. They take longer to come on. So don't have that gummy and decide that half an hour later, it's not working. Pop another gummy, because next thing you know, you got the munchies and now you're popping the rest of the gummies and you're higher than high can be. And that's called greening out. If for any reason you should ever green out, where you have just simply consumed too much cannabis and you're feeling that nauseated, that paranoia, that, oh, wow, I can't get a grip on reality moment, simply take some peppercorns, roll them around on your tongue for a bit, spit them out. The beta-caryophyllene in the peppercorn will help reduce, dampen the effects of the THC. Just a little tip, something to keep in mind. Now, nausea and digestive distress are really common for fibro fighters, as many of you already know. Sometimes my stomach acts up with nausea, bloating, IBS-like symptoms. And yes, I suffer from IBS, as many of us do, or IBD, whatever it is. And what helps these things? Honestly, fibro doesn't just attack the muscles, as you're aware. It really messes with digestion as well as other organs in our body. And this is due directly to the fact of how it affects our nervous system. And there's a whole science about the gut-brain connection. And so if there's any inflammation anywhere in the body, that inflammation is sending messages to the brain is sending messages out. It's affecting the digestive system, so the gut, right? What are things that we can do to deal with these symptoms? Hypnosis, breathing, exercise. It's so important to help you to learn the power of your mind, the power of your brain. Seriously, sit comfortably, breathe deeply through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and slowly exhale for 6. Yes, that's a long, cooling breath. And imagine as you're doing it that you're moving a cooling substance, maybe a gel or a light that is moving through your digestive system, a healing light or substance, soothing any discomfort, something that's triggering your parasympathetic system, easing that gut distress. And imagining that and feeling that is a wonderful way for you to help you. Notably, cannabis, ginger, or peppermint are fantastic. Having these things in a tea can really help with the digestive distress. It calms nausea. Strains with high myrcene, like Mango Kush, for example, are known to settle a stomach almost right away. Now, a small edible or tincture can also reduce any inflammation that's in the gut. But my go-to right away is usually a peppermint-infused cannabis tea. I just find the calming effect to be most effective and wonderful for me. So I've answered some of your questions today. I haven't seen any come up in the comments section. Again, notably, fibromyalgia is unpredictable, but you're not powerless. By using hypnosis, NLP, cannabis, EFT, RTT, all sorts of these natural allopathic tools and techniques, you can train your body and mind to handle the flare-ups with more ease. What could be your next step? Try one of these techniques today. Start there. The more you practice, the stronger your resilience becomes, the better soldier you become, and the more victorious you will be on the battlefield fighting with fibromyalgia. If you need guidance on finding the right cannabis product, check out your local dispensaries, or give me a call. We can do a free discovery call. In addition to that, those of you who are looking for one-to-one, peer-to-peer consultation to help you use hypnosis, NLP, or for a hypnosis session and treatment, please reach out. Fight Fibro with Green Irene. You can reach me at fightfibro.ca as well as infoispower.ca and sign up today. Get your free discovery call. I can help you to help you. Book a session with me. Let's create a battle plan that's tailored to you specifically. Thanks for tuning in today. I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.